Is Donald Trump trying to accelerate an inevitable recession? It seems like that's the case, and it seems like there's something strategic, at least in his head, behind all of this. And so, just to summarize what these last couple of months have included, at the end of January, the trade war began. On March 1st, the Atlanta Fed projected that GDP estimates for the first quarter would decrease by 2.8%. On March 5th, Donald Trump said that he is not following the stock market. And then on March 9th, Sunday, March 9th, he came out and acknowledged that a recession may be coming. And I don't think he's batting an eye at all with any of that. And so I don't know if you noticed this, but I used the word inevitable when I opened this video. And I want to remind you of a few things that I've been saying for years now. If you were to watch my video on TikTok from November 10th of 2022, on that day, Bitcoin was under $16,000, and I said that I was bullish, and it ended up being very close to the bottom. But there was something else that I said in that video, and that is that I was of a strong belief that the United States would enter a recession within a year of the first rate cuts, those first rate cuts being almost 6 months ago now, September 18th of 2024. And so here we are 6 months later, and we are, in my opinion, on our way to a recession, and that we will officially be in a recession by the end of the year, or I should say by September 18th of 2025. And it certainly seems like that's the direction we're heading, considering the fact that the Atlanta Fed projected GDP to be negative 2.8% for the first quarter. I find it highly unlikely that it's going to be below or above zero for the second quarter, but we'll see. And so 2 straight quarters, historical definition at least, that is a recession. And so why would that be the case? Why would this be something that Donald Trump is trying to push forward? Well, okay, this may be a little bit of a conspiracy. Let me put on my tinfoil hat for a brief moment. There was some speculation. Okay, this was speculation on my end, but not only on my end, I've seen other people talk about this, that they... Who are they? The powers that be, or if you want to get a little dark, the people who actually run the world, they wanted Trump to win. And why would they want Trump to win? They wanted Trump to win because they saw on the horizon something that could be as bad as 2008, maybe not as bad, or maybe even worse than that. I would think not as bad as the Great Depression, but you never know. And they wanted a scapegoat. And so if they wanted a scapegoat, who would they rather have? They would rather have somebody, and this is not a Democrat or Republican thing, they would rather have somebody who is not a part of the establishment, that is not a part of the swamp, the so-called swamp. They would rather have somebody who's trying to bring down the establishment in power so that that person could be the scapegoat. And if they would rather have that, then who better to be the scapegoat than the current president and the 45th president, Donald Trump himself? And it may end up being that he takes the full blame for all of this. There are certainly things that he has done that, at least short term, you can point a finger at and say, this is the reason why we're suffering like this. In my opinion, this was inevitable. Like I said, an inevitable recession. I believe that no matter who came to power after the previous election, that we would have whatever the word is, we would have entered a recession in 2025 regardless. So better to have a scapegoat be the person who's trying to burn down certain things that have been mainstays in the United States government for years, for decades even. So all right, this is especially tinfoil, let's say Donald Trump knew that. Let's say President Trump knew that at least there was a possibility that he was going to be the scapegoat. Personally, if I were in his position, if I knew that, maybe I'd try to play a little bit of 3D chess and try to just accelerate the inevitable. Try to do some things to cause some short-term pain to bring things to a level to then would be an ideal situation for things to bounce back up. And what would those things be? Things that I've been talking about on this channel for quite a while. Interest rates a lot lower than where they are right now, and quantitative easing, and money printer being turned on, so that, and this is not something that I would commend President Trump for, so that there would be a more of a kicking of the can down the road for what I inevitably think would be a significant collapse in the United States, and a significant collapse in the United States as the global superpower, that we can at least prop things up during the remainder of his term. And if there were to be a Republican president in 2028, 2029, throughout that person's entire term as well. So we prop things up, and then at least, given the fact that, I believe at least that President Trump is an incredible narcissist, at least that he would not be the one to receive the blame for all of that, that it would be somebody else, but not him. Could this be the conspiracy within the conspiracy? What's the conspiracy? They have Donald Trump win the presidency, or whatever the case. I mean, I'm not saying that they manipulated things so that he would win, so that he could take the blame, and he knows that. And so then he plays a little game of his own, so that in a few years, when it's time for another election, things are thriving, they're booming, but we go through the short-term pain first. I don't know. It's a thought that's just in my head, but that's all I have for today. I'll see you in another video.